Have you got your tea?
Yeah, tea ready.
That's the important thing. Always be ready for tea. Now let's talk about Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is one of the most successful movies ever made, and it earned enough Oscars to haunt Leonardo DiCaprio's dreams until the end of time. Hailed for its numerous and extensive special effects, quite fittingly, the best special effects in the movie is the one nobody really noticed. I'm of course talking about the first scene in the movie, you know, the one with the really heavy-handed feather metaphor.
Yeah, so there might be some people who've not seen the film or seen that scene.
Yeah, so in which case, here is a clip. So now we're all caught up on the fact that the scene contains a feather floating through the air. Let's talk about how much of a ball ache it was to realise, because just watching that scene, you realise, well, that can't have been accomplished with a real feather. Because how the fuck would you follow a feather flying through the air with a camera and keep it steady? It's like you've done a lot of filming work. You've like tried.
Yeah.
How hard is it to film someone who's moving?
Well, if you're trying to or you mean just like in general, just like moving?
Like if I just like threw a baseball through the air, how hard would that be to like follow with a camera, keeping it in focus, and then then the baseball did a few loop-the-loops as well. Yeah. Just the fact you're laughing about it, it's like,
yeah, it's because you're constantly having to make sure your camera's steady, you're in the shot, you're in focus, you have to keep turning the focus wheel.
So we have trouble sometimes getting these videos in focus, and I stand perfectly still in front of a green screen with a camera that is a set distance away from me. So I'm just thinking, of course, there is no fucking way you'd be able to follow a feather falling through the air. So what they actually did is they filmed a feather in front of a blue screen, which some guy walked around on a piece of string, which cracks me up because the footage of it is just this guy like la da 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 da, just walking a feather around to film its various movements. So so they could get the footage of the feather just floating through the air. And then obviously what they did is they got these shots and they stitched them together to create a realistic-ish falling animation for a feather just slowly descending towards the ground. And that alone doesn't sound that difficult, does it?
No.
A bit of a ball ache and a bit stupid that some guy got paid to walk his pet feather. So let's just make it a little bit more difficult. Because if you remember that scene, Nisha, you might recall that the feather goes past a car window.
Yeah.
And when it does, it casts a reflection. That wasn't actually in the script originally, but director Robert Zemeckis went, no, make it fly in front of a windscreen on a car. And the poor people doing the digital effects fuck's sake, that means I now have to go in frame by frame and add a reflection for the feather for a shot nobody is going to look at except me. And they went in and they put that fucking reflection in. They went frame by frame to put it in. And you're probably thinking, okay, Karl, that's not so bad. So let's make it a little bit worse, shall we? Before that though, me and Brad have talked a lot before about CGI in movies, but I don't think we have. So have you got any favourite examples of CGI or any particular effects? Because you did visual effects at university, didn't you? Is there any effects that you quite like doing, or ones that are a ball ache, conversely?
Well, if I'm thinking back to what I did in uni.
Yeah, what was the biggest ball ache when they said, okay, this is today's lesson, you just went, what was that?
The lessons weren't too bad because we just got to follow a generic sort of either 3D animation technique or just simple rotoscoping sort of techniques.
I love that simple rotoscoping.
Yeah,
the fact is the name rotoscoping is hard to spell, let alone fucking do.
I think the worst memory I have though is in my final year because you basically just do whatever you want to do.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's most of university for me, but yeah.
But they're just you can turn up to lesson if you want, but do what you want.
See, that's the worst thing I feel. Giving people too much freedom means they won't do anything.
Well, we had a lecturer who was the course leader who would not turn up to lessons.
Wasn't he just hung over all the time?
He was
what
a hero. Good, never reply to emails and stuff like that.
Perfect.
But, yeah.
Earning that 55 grand a year paycheck, I see.
But yeah, the worst thing was my last project with people who've been on my YouTube channel.
That's the thing. Are you going to put clips in to show off your skills? That's the question. Who's in them? Is it you or is it Brad who's in the clips?
We're both in them.
Oh, now you know. Are you going to put a clip in?
Yeah.
But if you do, are you going to cover Brad? No, use your special effects wizardry to remove Brad from the scene if you're going to put it in.
But then that won't showcase the effect.
Oh, right. What was the effect you did?
So basically, Brad was the main star of the production.
Oh, how times have changed.
Yeah.
I hope he's editing this one.
But the concept is like he finds a watch and then
Bernard's watch.
It's like Bernard's watch.
It's Bernard's watch. I knew what it was
Bernard's
immediately.
Watch. Yeah, and he gets isolated from time, but he's like normal speed, and everyone else around him is either still, slow, or fast.
Ah, I see.
So there's a shot which is got one of our old housemates in.
Oh no, we can't put that clip in because we'd have to ask for personality rights. I'm not giving them no money. Fuck you.
Well, there is.
I have to pay them.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can't put someone in a video and dunk on them without paying them money.
Well, there's a shot where you can't see her face, just the back of her head.
There we go, do that.
Can we use that?
There we go, that's what a boyfriend saw, it's fine.
But,
Get wrecked. Fuck you, and you know what you did.
The shot, which I was thinking of anyway, is the back of her head. She's frozen still, and Brad's walking past her, so I had to rotoscope around her, like frame by frame.
Oh no.
And
so that's the thing. So you can you use your expertise now. How much of a ball ache is painting over something like frame by frame?
It's a lot of work. There's 25 frames per second.
So if you do 3 seconds of footage, that you need to do about 75 frames that you have to go in. So that's 75 individual drawings that you have to do. Yeah. Essentially.
So you could spend hours on this one clip and you've only done
it's effectively close to old school animation where you would have to draw 500 drawings for 30 seconds of just a cat walking up a flight of stairs or some shit. So with that in mind, as if the stuff they had to do wasn't already difficult enough, they had to get a feather, they had to walk it around, they had to film it, they had to splice together the footage to make it fall realistically, they had to then go frame by frame into the footage that they had and then put a reflection in a car window. The end of a shot called for it to land next to Tom Hanks's foot and then he picks it up. The thing is though, obviously you can't pick up a CGI feather, so what they did is they just glued a feather to his shoe. And the thing is, for the shots until the actual CGI feather landed and lined up with that one, they had to go in and they had to paint over, frame by frame, every shot featuring the feather, which, is fluffy. And I think so, as a visual effects artist, you're already rolling your eyes because the feather is fluffy and has soft edges. Plain black t-shirt with stark edges against a very stark coloured background, easy to edit. You can put anything behind me right now. My head, though, which has spiky, fluffy hair all over it, much more of a ball ache.
Yep.
And we're not even going to get into this shit, which is even more. So I'm curious about whether or not this is just flashing all over.
Oh, God, yeah.
But they went in, and for every frame in which the feather was visible against Tom Hanks's, or Forrest Gump's dirty shoe, which makes it even worse. It wasn't even a plain colour. It was all various specks of dirt and wear and tear, which they had to paint over, so you couldn't see the feather until the CGI feather landed in its exact location, and then Tom Hanks picks it up and the rest of the scene continues. But just for a moment, think about how much of a ball ache do you think that sounds?
I know how much of a ball ache it is.
How much happier that you've got to edit these videos? A static shot with no changes whatsoever. I think for one day we should start adding pans just randomly, just to really flex to see. The production value just goes up when we get a steady cam and it's me walking and then I just get hit by a car or some shit because I'm an idiot.
One thing I always wanted to try, I could never master, was the dolly zoom.
Dolly zoom, oh man.
Yeah, you zoom in and move the camera backwards at the same time.
The thing is that after the Spielberg shot the most famous one of all time, we can put the clip in, is the one in Jaws.
Yeah.
The famous dolly zoom in that, because it's such a weird effect and it's such an arresting image. You're drawn straight into it. And I can imagine that is a ball ache. You have to zoom out and zoom in at the same time.
You meant to have the camera on
Is it the camera equivalent rubbing your belly and patting your head or patting your belly?
Kind of, yeah.
I can't do. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah, I think it's what I remember. We tried it at uni and just failed.
And that's why Steven Spielberg gets paid the big bucks, I suppose, because that shit's hard.
But yeah, you move the camera back, I think, and zoom in. So it's
See, what I've always wanted to do is try that the chicken thing. Have you seen the chicken thing? Because chickens' heads don't move. Chickens are cheaper than Steadicams.
Yeah.
A fun fact people don't know, a chicken's head is always perfectly orientated. So if you attach a camera to a chicken's head and then spin the chicken around like a jackass, the chicken's head won't move, and it's actually steadier than professional grade Steadicams. And it's so funny because you just see, there's footage out there of people just grabbing chickens and just going. And the chicken's like, this is the sickest dance move that's ever been pulled off, and the chicken doesn't even know. Like, he's someone's dinner tomorrow, and he's just done this. It's so harsh. Chickens should be ruling the fucking world, man. Love that shit.
Your favourite animal?
Best animal in the world. So they are, because they're so glorious. Do you know chickens were bred for fighting, not food? Because they were respected for their vicious fighting style. So early in the days of domestication, chickens were domesticated so they could like make them fight, not eat them.
I can see that.
Chickens will fuck you up, man. And the end result of all this work from the CGI artist was arguably one of like the most striking and memorable introductions to a film from the 90s. The problem was, though, they may have worked a little bit too hard because nobody really knows that that's a special effect. And I'm going to guess there's some people out there who just thought that they dropped a feather, followed it with a camera, and nailed that shit on the first take. What cracks me up most about this feather scene, though, is that it's regarded as the most difficult visual effect to accomplish in the entire movie. And it looks so simple. Right? This is a movie where they like have Tom Hanks and they edit him into old footage of like JFK.
Yeah.
Like just talking to JFK, and that's like ADR over JFK's voice with like a voice actor who sounded enough like him where it didn't like look weird and that sort of thing. And they have like giant explosions like in the Vietnam scene where they basically blow up half a fucking forest. And like, no, this little feather just painting over this little feather or putting like a little feather in a windscreen. Most difficult shot in the movie. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any examples that you like of things that look inconsequential to the film itself but were a ball ache to film? Because we've talked about it on the channel before, and I think it's the first video we ever did that went viral, and it's the hardest shot in Hot Fuzz, is when they're sat watching TV, because they had to go out and get the rights from every single person who appeared on screen, including the stuntman who was wearing a mask, and you see the back of his head, which makes me now think, depending on where you're going to splice this conversation in, are we going to still have to ask that person for permission? But you know what? Fuck it, no, I don't care. Sue me if you want. I've got a Big Wangers business. You can direct all your suing towards Big Wangers Incorporated. Hell yeah. And then similarly in Shaun of the Dead, the hardest shot in that movie to realise is when they're flicking through the TV, because they had to go out again and get all the rights to every individual channel's like splash screen shown, which some poor intern had to spend like an entire week doing, like individually tracking out who owns the rights to Bravo's emergency broadcast splash screen. Can I use it for a 3-second shot in a film about zombies? So in that vein, are there any little things using your experience, like, doing this kind of shit that is more difficult than it may appear at first glance? Because you used to edit music videos, right? Or you still do. Like, how much of a ball ache is it syncing up drumming in a music video?
Oh,
that sounds like a ball ache.
I did a music video in my 3rd year, and they played it live in a green screen studio.
Okay.
Which is fine.
So the ideal setup, the king setup, I'm going to add.
It was all around green screen. That was fine.
We should get one of those. That sounds way better than the shit we've got right now.
Basically paint the walls green.
I can do that if I want to, but I like this green screen. It adds character.
When it came to syncing the actual footage to the recorded track, the drummer was playing it differently.
No.
Even the singer said, we sometimes play it a bit different. We didn't always play it the same. And I was just like, well, that is not helpful for me.
That's not... Oh, how do you get around that? Do you just have to, do you have to, green screen him out? Oh, that's so harsh.
I just tried to sync it as best as I could. It took a long time to edit, but I got around it. He's in the video. It's fine.
You're going to put a clip in? Actually, no, because we know we need to apply for rights, so that's our darling. God damn it.
People, if they just go to my YouTube channel, it's
there you go. Plug your YouTube channel, do it. Go look at footage of Brad.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
the watch.
And then comment just saying that Brad smells from Karl.
People have already commented on that video saying, "Oh my god, it's Brad."
Oh, fucking losers! God, get over it. He's got his Twitter's, LinkedIn, everything. They could just go look at a picture of him at any point. Oh, it reminds me my friend is in a band, and whenever we'd watch music videos, I would just sat at a house party. He'd get so annoyed, and he'd always point out when the music doesn't sync with what's on screen because it really fucking annoyed him. And so now, if that happens again, dude, it's a lot harder than it looks. Trust, I've spoke to someone who's done this shit.
Every time I watch that video now, everything just looks out of sync to me.
It annoys you.
It just looks out of sync.
And now you're directing potentially 100,000 people to go watch it.
Go watch this out of sync video.
Go watch this out of sync. Look at how well we've improved.
Some interesting visual effects.
Please tell me we're just Shrek in the background or something.
No.
If it's in front of a green screen, you could do so much bulk. Like, please tell me you at least send them like a fake version before you send it in for real.
No.
Oh.
Well, I'm tempted to go back and redo it.
If you've still got the footage in front of a green screen.
I probably have got the original footage somewhere, but annoyingly, it's just kind of boring because I made the green screen white.
Yeah.
Because they're black and white, and I made like light streaks of colour come in and add. It's really cheesy.
Yeah.
The colour streaks add colour to them, and it's like, oh.
I've always said that if I die, like all the money goes to my family, but the footage is yours and Brad's to do with what you want. So you'll have all this green screen footage, and you can edit whatever the fuck you want in the background and remix it any way you want. There we go. That is my gift to you, my legacy. Yeah, so you've filmed a lot of stuff. Like, what's the worst thing you've been asked to film, either in terms of how much of a ball ache it was to film, or just like because you just didn't enjoy it? Haven't you filmed like weddings and stuff as well?
I've not filmed them.
You've not filmed. You photographed
No.
for a wedding. Okay, so what is? Have you dealt with a bridezilla? I need to know. Are there any brides? No.
Well, I've only done 3 weddings, and they've all been really lovely. Cause the first one I did, I knew them.
All right, I was hoping you say it was all the same person. They just kept getting divorced.
I've got a wedding in August, but I know them, so they're always going to be really nice.
Hi, Nisha, if you've got a wedding coming up, I might even turn. No, I won't. Promote it, do it.
Well, yeah, I occasionally do weddings. I did 3 last year. So that's how often I do them.
And how much of a ball? You have to get photos of like there's specific things that every wedding photographer needs to get a photo of, like the cutting of the cake, all the bride and groom, and then you go outside and you do things where you've got to throw confetti at them. You've
got to, it's one of the things. It's so stressful because you're taking pictures constantly. So you've got like every battery going, all memory cards. Because I end up taking like 2,000 odd pictures, but it's awkward because it's like a one-shot sort of thing. Like if you miss it, that's it.
Yeah.
You know when they have like the first kiss and the confetti throw in.
Yeah.
I mean, confetti you probably throw again, but the first kiss when they've done the vows, that's crucial. And if you miss it,
or if you get a bad angle, that's why my idea: all weddings green screen. Just all churches, all registry offices, green screens everywhere. Because then you know what, you can fix that shit in post. So and the best bit is, oh no, you end up breaking up with that person. I can now Photoshop it so you're kissing your new wife. Don't even have to pay for a new wedding.
Oh yeah. I'm trying. What was I going to say?
That's an idea. There's money out there for somebody if they want to try it.
I think the worst thing that I filmed is probably like live gigs because I don't have the correct equipment really for dark settings.
Still turn up though. Still do the job. Still get paid.
You know, and again, it's like I can film them live singing like the sounds live. And I'll say, oh yeah, I can put it to your recorded track. But again, it's hard to sync up because
they sing
slightly
it
different.
Because it'll be a different tempo and they sing it live. Or they might stop the song halfway through to just chat to the crowd. Or they might bring someone on and sing the song. I love when bands do that. I think my favourite example of that is like I think Hayley Williams for Paramore brought someone on stage and the girl fell over. So the entire band just lied down next to her and just planked in solidarity.
Aww.
That band still sucks live though, which is really funny. I just like that. She just fell over. It's like, oh no. I'm liking my idea though, green screen weddings. Because like, after the fact, just photoshopping like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, yeah, you go, dream man. He was always there.
Yeah, you could just have like if you have a shot of in the church where you've got all your guests. Just Photoshop loads of celebrities in.
Do you ever get tempted though when you're editing them to Photoshop something stupid and just see if anyone notices?
No, but I'm tempted now.
Yeah, like Joe, when you go through it, and it's like Joe, crowd shots and that. Just Photoshop just like a random person into the crowd, like yourself into the crowd or something.
I'm tempted now.
Yeah, no, I know it's got to be. You got to Photoshop in random celebrities.
Yeah.
And it's got to be like so. Then years later, they'll look and go, why was Sean being at our wedding? And they don't understand why he's there. I'll put like a celebrity in character in, like Morpheus, just in the background of a shot watching from very far away, from like behind a tree. Just why was Lawrence Fishburne in full Morpheus costume watching our wedding while Optimus Prime is in the background too? Hire Nisha for your wedding if you want your wedding photos fucked all up because I told her to.
If you want celebs to attend your wedding, just hire me.
No, Optimus Prime. I want Optimus Prime at my wedding.
Just like peeping behind the church.
I want Optimus Prime and Godzilla at my wedding. Make it happen.